Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the workshop of the Board of County Commissioners. Would you all please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, first up, we have an update from the Mancos Conservation District. Mr. Margoles, come on down. Turn on that microphone, pull it as close to you as you can get it, and the floor is yours.
Good afternoon. Thank you, commissioners, for having me. Want to give an update from the Mancos Conservation District. There's been, it was December when I last spoke in front of you. Certainly things have changed for the district, both additional funding and work coming in, and some more challenging changes too. Starting, through our program areas in our watershed management, we are finalizing our stream management plan, which is exciting, having that beginning to come to a close. We're going to be meeting with Colorado Water Conservation Board later this month about all of the steps in closing that out. We still have really until the end of the year to finish that out, but would like to wrap it up when possible. Bureau of Reclamation Water Smart. So we have $2.5 million for 3 diversion upgrades, smart metering on 10 head gates, and about 600 plus acres of forest management funded through that. That funding was frozen for the past many months, since probably about, January, February timeline there. Just got word on last Friday, that it should be getting unfrozen sometime this week, which we are encouraged about. It's been a little bit challenging to think about some of our long-term planning and how that money was matched to other state funds as well, and how to fill in the gap there. So we're encouraged on that, both for our producers, for our landowners, and just for the general operations of the district too. We're in process of doing one diversion upgrade right now with landowners. We were going to do the implementation this month. That's getting punted until the end of the summer, early fall, in order for those producers to divert as much water as possible right now before calls are made, which will probably happen, as I'm sure all of you know, very soon. And we've received some additional funding through the Colorado Healthy River Fund to continue water quality monitoring that we've been doing for the past decade or so. Right now, some of our folks are out today doing eDNA sampling to look at the efficacy of some of the upgrades we did on a diversion last year for fish migration. So the goal was to support, really do maintenance that was heavily needed for one of the diversions, but also to remove fish passage barriers as well. And right now, this is some monitoring to see how effectively did that actually remove a fish passage barrier too, in order to demonstrate success and ideally leverage that into additional upgrades into the future too. Feel free to ask any questions while I'm going along. Southwestern Water Conservation District, as I believe you all might know, put in B2E funding application through Bureau of Reclamation, Bucket to Environmental, a lot of, word salad funding buckets, but that was a $26 million proposal they put in. Appreciate the letter of support the county commissioners gave for that last fall. That was awarded in January. It was never contracted, and we don't know the long-term potential for that. MCD had a number of projects listed in there, including phreatophyte removal, stream upgrades, or river upgrades through the town of Mancos, working with landowners to reduce the impacts of beavers on head gates, on culverts, some things like that. And, we're hopeful that this will go through. That work is focused on hard infrastructure improvements, but since it wasn't contracted, I'd say it's still up in the air right now. I will say that our board president and other agencies and partners did meet with Representative Hurd. I believe it was last week now. It might have been the week before. I believe it was maybe the day after you all met with him. Was really encouraged about the representatives' openness and dialogue around supporting producers, getting work done on the ground for water projects, for forestry projects, for ag projects too. So excited about that. And we are now under contract for Colorado Water Conservation Board Wildfire Ready Watersheds project. We have a consultant team that is going to be working with us. We're going to be kicking that off later this month, and appreciate the Natural Resource Director as well as the county's GIS team will be providing some support with that, and really appreciate all of that and that engagement, as well as the emergency manager. That should be completed by the end of 2026. The focus of that is to do pre-fire planning to address potential post-fire impacts to water resources within the Mancos watershed. Another group is doing one for the Dolores watershed as well right now too. Okay, I'll move on to forestry unless there are any thoughts or questions.
I've got a couple questions. So the 3 diversions, unless I missed it, where are they and how big are they?
We're kind of opening that up to ditch companies that are interested right now. We haven't fully finalized which ones are going to be. We have funding for it. Right now, we're working on the Chic diversion right now within the Mancos watershed, but there are 3 others that we do have funding for, and we just haven't fully planned it out because the money was frozen right now. And so we've been chatting with a number of different landowners on different ditches, but we haven't put any seal to it, because once we select them, then we're going to need to go through the whole NEPA process. But,
Okay.
yep.
And then how many producers do you have in the district? And then what is the biggest product?
So we have, I don't know offhand how many. I can get that to you.
Right, because I mean, I'm just writing questions down as you're talking about it, as we, is it 10 producers? Is it 10,000 producers?
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
We have hundreds. We have
Yeah,
hundreds of
that's-
producers.
that's
Yeah.
kind of what I want to know.
Yeah.
So the public knows what we're talking about when we
Absolutely.
talk about the
That's a great
Mancos
question.
Conservation District, or what are we
Yep.
supporting and what are we doing? And then again, what is the biggest product? Or what are the top 3 products, maybe? would be a
The
better-
top 3, I'd say forage is, so supporting ranching is one of the products, hay, for sure. There are quite a few vegetable producers within the valley. And, in truth, it's largely hay and diversified vegetable production.
Okay.
Yep.
And then I'm going to make a statement, and don't take this wrong.
I'm not going to take it.
I just drove down to New Mexico this weekend and back, and I look at what we had done here in Montezuma County, and I asked the question to myself, because I've asked it 100 times to myself before. When I looked at the free ediphytes that are existing from, I'm talking 260 miles between here and there, and that's just on the roadways. Are we really making any kind of a difference at all? I mean, you don't have to answer that right now. Not putting you on the spot, but
Don't
I mean,
worry. I don't take any
I
offense
just-
to anything. I think that's a really valuable question, and I think,
We're losing this war.
yeah, I think that's,
I- I think we would be better off, like Commissioner Copenhaver said, if we're gonna save this water and reduce what we're losing, why are we not putting it in pipes instead of fighting a battle? And again, this is just an observation going
Yeah.
70 miles an hour down the road. And it just seemed like it just,
So on that note,
Bigger.
we certainly have in the past and will happily continue help ditch companies put their water in pipes too. So the Root and Ratliff was piped with a lot of support from the Mancos Conservation District. I've been chatting with others. I'm trying to support additional funding for the Summit diversion. Part of it is a goal of putting some of it in pipe too. Some, they're expensive projects.
I understand that, but
yeah.
I'm just saying,
No, I think
part of what the federal government
Yeah.
is trying to do right now is to
yeah,
cut or
totally.
stop the waste because, and this is just an opinion, but as you drive down the road in anywhere and you start seeing what's out there, put the water in pipe and stop that water from getting out to these
Yeah.
creatures, and that's how you kill them.
Yeah, I
What
mean,
we're
I think,
doing is not making a difference. A year after we've done a big project, and you go look at it now, and it's like, holy cow, we weren't even
Yep.
there. And that was 365 days ago. So I'll stop with that, and I'll let you go on.
no, that's fine. Did you have another?
No, that was it.
No, and I would say the funding through B2E for phreatophyte work, that was actually pretty explicit that it wasn't meant to be along ditches. That was supposed to be along the main stem of rivers, where you can change the phreatophyte populations pretty easily along ditches by putting them in pipe. Along the main stem of rivers, you have to do the mechanical work too, or you have to do some sort of work in order to remove those seed sources. But I hear you about putting ditches in pipe. It's a reasonable response. Yep, and would happily support ditch companies to do that. So
Okay. All right, I'll let you proceed now. Sorry.
no
Dan.
problem. Feel free to jump in whenever. Forestry projects, we have a number of projects underway right now, both thinning mastication and mastication. We recently did pile burning throughout the winter. We're kind of past the pile burning window at the moment. We've been holding show me tours, opening up RFPs, really hoping to put out RFPs for 300 plus acres for this year for work to happen. We're excited about and just know the need. This year could be a challenging fire year, and just getting as much work done in priority areas and really on private lands as possible this year is going to be a priority for us. We were recently awarded Natural Disaster Mitigation Enterprise Grant for $850,000 for wildfire mitigation work. Had been in communication with Jim Spratlin and James Dietrich about that, and it was great to communicate and plan with them on that, and we'll be helping High Desert Conservation District and the Empire Electric kind of think through and just provide support as I'm able for another application for a round that's going to be opening up later next month. So similarly with WaterSmart, probably back online, we'll be able to apply those funds towards fire mitigation work and cost share that we do with landowners. We're working with our board right now in identifying really the amounts that we're able to pay out per acre that meets reality on the ground in order to keep moving projects forward, as well as cost share requirements for landowners. And just trying to hit the sweet spot of landowner buy-in, but also just making sure that the money hits the ground and we get the project work to happen. So.
Okay.
Soil health program. We had 13 producers enrolled. in the soil health program, providing technical and financial assistance to producers. That program, as of a couple of weeks ago, was shut down by the state due to the changing of the Partnership for Climate Smart Commodities grant that happened at the national level. The state was funded through that program. The USDA is going to roll out a new funding program called Advancing Markets for Producers early this summer. We'll look at that, see if that's a fit for us. The state, I know, is going to look at that, see if that's how the state will think about applying to that again. And, you know, as we look at that, as we look at other grants and just how this is shifting our soil health program, we're going to just need to strategize right now. We're kind of in the phase of this happened just a couple of weeks ago, and we need to really think about how we provide technical and financial assistance to landowners, to producers around soil health work, and probably TAC, because we can't really run the program without the program. So.
Okay.
Outreach events, we held a number of really well-attended outreach events recently. There was a Master Land Steward one-day course meant for relatively recent landowners, a whole host of topics from weeds to water rights and water law to carrying capacity on properties. That was really effective course. Also, Opinion Juniper Symposium that was held a few weeks ago. The goal of that was to bring together managers, contractors, researchers to discuss, I'd say, a very present but still impressively not well understood ecosystem in our county, and especially the best management practices in order to reduce wildfire risk while also ideally not harming the functioning of those ecosystems. And it was, I don't know, there were probably 50 to 60 folks that attended the symposium. They were great presentations, and there is a desire to have more learning around that and to really think about what are the desired outcomes for different properties. So we had folks from, for example, Mesa Verde, but also local landowners and local contractors, and just understand that there are very different goals on the different types of land that we're talking about. But it's one area that we are able to help support with cost share for landowners to reduce wildfire risk, but we also want to best understand what's effective in these ecosystems, because they are very different from ponderosa pine ecosystems where we're mostly working, and they're often driven by, you know, it's often high severity wildfires that do really occur within those ecosystems, unlike ponderosa pine. And what's a way that we can reduce risk for ingress, egress to structures, to lives, but also just recognize that these ecosystems can burn hot when they burn, and they're often wind-driven events. And so we can't necessarily stop a wildfire, but what can we do in order to reduce some of the risk? So really, really valuable. We had a recent annual meeting as well. We brought down individuals from the Crested Butte area to talk about mining and negotiations that community did with mining companies. Folks from Metallic Minerals were present, and we had a really good dialogue there about some of the proposed mining activities along the East Mancos. And I'd say with education outreach, similar to the soil health program, we're needing to really rethink our capacity and our priorities for education outreach. We had an NRCS grant focused on producer outreach, and that one was terminated in February, and we ended up needing to lay off one employee as a result. And Yeah, right now we're in I'd say, triage of what's the most important type of education outreach for our landowners and a rescaling of those activities.
Okay. What what was the talk about the mining and what are you mining?
So the proposed mining that's it's not us, but
No,
yeah.
I know, but the
The
conversation
Oh yeah.
of the
Well,
mining on the Mancos, what,
so Metallic Minerals has, they passed recently a substitute water supply plan for doing some exploratory drilling on the East Mancos up high, like really at the crest. They're already doing a little bit on the La Plata
Yeah.
County side as well. And the dialogue was what are effective strategies for communities, whether it's municipalities, counties, or just citizens, to have effective dialogue with mining companies and then also the federal agencies in the process. And they had some good strategies in developing MOUs for just expectations of how communication occurs and in what venues there is an expectation for information sharing before maybe formal processes are already underway. Formal processes are, no matter what, very valuable and required, but also I think one of the big takeaways was as much legwork as can be done on the front end in just developing relationships between the community, between mining companies, makes everyone's life a lot easier too. And so I and the district have been in close communication with Metallic Minerals over the past year. They're interested in changing their substitute water supply plan. We put in a lot of comments about some of the concerns from our board of supervisors, but others have as well, about some of the details from the substitute water supply plan, that water would be substituted below some of the head gates of diversions. It would be taken out up top and then substituted down below. In reality, it's a relatively small amount of water right now, but everyone's, concerned. No one's as concerned about the exploratory drilling, but if and when an actual mine comes in, then that's when a lot of the concerns would be had, and especially making precedent for where a substitution point could be. And so our recommendation was to put in a tank or a holding pond up top, pull water out when the river's not on call, and then they'd be able to use that water while the river is on call. And so it wouldn't be doing a transbasin diversion or bringing water in from another location, and would, not really harm the rights of, or potentially harm the rights of users.
so you're just storing the water in a tank?
Exactly.
Basically.
And so that's what we recommended. They're right now looking into, and I think working with a new engineering company or consultant group in order to do a new substitute water supply plan. They recently came out with a letter addressed to the Mancos Conservation District as well as others that put in comments for the substitute water supply plan, with some commitments that they're interested in working with the community. And I think where our board is we'll continue the dialogue with them. We didn't feel the need to make any formal response to their letter, but we appreciate that there is dialogue, and they're interested in supporting third-party monitoring of water quality through an outside outfit. So,
Okay,
yep.
very good. Anything else?
I'd say the other thing is, so we have a district conservation technician program that operates in partnership with the NRCS. The NRCS, kind of through the state of Colorado, supports 80% of those salaries. The district supports 20% of them. Those individuals are housed within the NRCS office. They go through the whole federal training system. In many ways, they're very similar to an NRCS employee. Right now, we've had 2 of them. One of them ended up getting hired on originally by the NRCS earlier in January. Unfortunately, there is a hiring freeze. We're hopeful that this program continues. I'd say it's really important to the NRCS general operations and support for local landowners to have that program continue, and are hopeful of that. But we have 1 out of 2 currently employed at present. I don't know. I don't think that there's much more to say on that, but just hoping that support will continue on, and just know how valuable it is to the NRCS and to our producers that, and to those individuals that it's often been a great entry point into an NRCS job directly from the Conservation District. So that's all, unless
All right.
there are any questions for me.
I think I asked all mine going through, so. Okay. All right. Thank you, Danny.
Appreciate it. Thank you
All
all.
right. Well, as you finished up your burning, now the BLM and the Forest Service are getting ready to start theirs, so,
Awesome.
so bear with them.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah. For there's a big acres, like 1,400
Yeah, I
acres,
saw
I think. I read that.
the news release come out.
Yeah.
So, I think way up there it looked like.
Yeah.
Or-
Yeah.
Yeah, up by Cottonwood.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So, I guess maybe one other final thing on that note is that we have been having conversations with landowners about not only pile burning, but broadcast burning.
Mm.
And we're working with outside partners. We wouldn't be the ones leading it. We have funding for it through the Colorado Strategic Wildfire Action Program, funded through the DNR. And had an initial conversation with a handful of landowners, really prioritizing landowners and properties that are bordering public lands and have large enough acreage in order for it to be feasible. And we're working with the Nature Conservancy in that they have a pretty sound prescribed fire program and hold all of the insurance and money for that.
That's
Yep.
that's been a big conversation at the Fire Commission because, 1, we don't have enough burners
Yep.
that are certified, and 2, nobody wants to hold the insurance because nobody wants to be held responsible. So
It's a huge issue. And so
Yeah.
the goal is some of their staff might be coming down from the Front Range, maybe in June, and checking out the properties. We sent them all of the specs. They participated in a recent meeting with landowners, and it was just an educational meeting of what landowners can expect from this, what everyone's roles and responsibilities would be. And we had some of the local fire protection districts, we had the Forest Service and others at that meeting too. And the goal is to have it be as cross-boundary as possible, but to share as much information. And what we'd probably be doing in the process is holding what's called a prescribed fire training exchange. And that is a training opportunity for individuals to get their red cards or to get a higher level of certification, like their burn certifications too, in the process. And it's an effective way of just getting work done on the ground. And so ideally it's a training for local individuals, local outfits, but also one that produces on the ground impact. So I don't know, that's not happening anytime immediately. We're not going to be doing that this summer or anything. I'll
Yeah.
keep updating you all about
Okay.
the progress of that. So
Appreciate it.
sounds good. Thank you.
thank you all.
Yeah. All right, Leslie, I'll bring you up next, and then I'll jump around this just a little bit. So, assessor's update. and then we'll talk about EagleView.
Did you think I was gonna fall asleep or?
I thought I was gonna have to throw something at you.
Okay,
So we're gonna do, okay.
up or down?
The real property is up. We don't have final numbers in for personal property. Kinder Morgan is down 8% on production. I haven't got their personal property stuff in yet, but just looking at what I got sent, looking last year from this year, just at the final numbers, they're down 8%. So, yeah, as you can see, all of our real property did pretty good during reval. Vacant land increased 7,456,440. And that increase, not that we produced any more vacant land, we took ag. We took a lot of ag classification out that, we'll see how it goes. A lot of the sales that happened were out of state, large parcels of land. And in the TD 1000 sales verifications, it said, for hunting purposes, buy this ground and invite your friends for hunting. And so when ag letters were sent, no responses. So we pulled their ag and they're getting their notice of value in about 3 days. So we'll see how it goes. But they have to have appropriate documentation to receive ag.
Do we need a helmet?
We might.
Okay.
So, but
Okay.
if they don't have, they have to have an ag operation. If they don't-
Justification.
They don't have an ag operation, they don't get the discount for ag.
Yeah.
And it's getting ridiculous. I'm tired of fighting the fight. The ag operation was set forth in the state of Colorado as a help for our farmers and ranchers that provide food, not a means to get out of paying your taxes. Simple as that. So if you don't have it, you're not getting it. So we might see a lot of people over here come CBOE hearing time.
A lot of them are just what you said, that are vacant. They're vacant landowners,
Yeah.
they bought it, they purchased it for
And they're all over
hunting
35 acre
and/or
parcels.
whatever, and I don't think you're gonna see it,
They don't even live here.
yeah.
They've probably
Yeah, they're
never even
vacant
seen the parcel of
landowners.
land they purchased. So,
I
that was
do,
the,
I did see the residential was substantially up, but that's
Mm-hmm.
because of the reduction, or they don't have the reductions this year?
Correct.
Of the 55,000,
the
right?
55,000 is gone, but this is actually increasing values too.
Okay, so all of it collectively?
Mhm.
So
Yes.
it is, which is good.
Yep. So our residential went up. That is due to the sales. Commercial's up pretty good there too. Industrial not, but we don't have a lot of industrial properties in the county. Ag went up, even though some of the classifications of the ag land went down, some went up. We kind of had I would say the ups and the downs in the land kind of settled each other out, but the increase in the residential and and the increase in the buildings kind of took the increase of that. So overall, we're at 78,982,810 for the increase in the values of the real property, which if you take the current mill levy for the county in general, that's $836,000. So,
Which is an increase instead of a
It's
loss.
an increase. It
Unless,
is an increase.
unless they have another special session.
Yeah.
I'm hoping. But we did, I know you guys are probably aware of the school the school rate, the regular residential rate and all of that stuff. So, I've been talking with, my employees and I think it would be smart for us probably in September, once things cool down after reval and things, we get first certification through in August. I think I'd like to come over here and use this room as a kind of a classroom, start holding some classes for taxpayers to get the word out so that in January when they get their actual tax bills, because no matter what happened to their actual value this year, their taxes will be going up. There's no way around it. So when you take basically you're having two assessment rates now, and your whole entire value at 7.5 for your school rate is going to increase your taxes, no matter what.
Yeah.
So I would like to get that out and be proactive with the taxpayers instead of have to be bombarded with all the questions in January when tax bills go out. So maybe once a week for a month or something, just kind of have and we'll see how it goes. I mean, a couple of them, if nobody shows up, I'm not going to continue to try.
When
Yeah.
notice evaluations go out, do you get much response from that? I mean, on that card, it says the time to do it, to protest is now. Does that generate?
And you ask them why they didn't protest,
Yeah,
they tell you they didn't open it.
it's on a card.
Yeah,
Have to look at it.
Yeah.
I didn't look at it, I didn't open it.
Okay,
I mean, I look at mine and I know when that card comes, I'm automatically mad.
Yeah, calling me bad names,
Yeah,
yeah.
you should, yeah. I'm sure your ears burn when
They do.
that comes out of the
That whole
mailbox, you
month.
know, but, you know,
I'm just happy that I can get a card.
Did I send you mail?
So I'm not mad. I'm just happy that I can get a card.
No, they don't, you would be surprised at the amount of people that don't even pay attention to their notice of value and just react when they get their tax bill. Because the notice of value doesn't really mean a lot to them. They look at it and go, yeah, my house is worth that much, and then they get their tax bill. Well, it's not worth that much. I'm not paying that much in taxes. It's all about what they have to pay in taxes.
And it's not to county general,
And it's not to county general.
just so that everybody is aware of that. The lion's
gonna
share of it
see.
goes to the school districts.
You're getting ready
And
to see
Dolores
how much is
district,
actually getting ready to go
is
to the
the
school
highest.
districts now.
oh, yeah.
It's gonna be crazy what you're gonna be paying to the school districts now.
so,
But I just think it would be smart to try and educate a little bit before it happens. If they'll be receptive to it, we'll see.
sure.
We'll see what they'll do.
I have no issues with that at all.
Maybe we should create a community that doesn't have any schools in it.
Well,
We'd sell a lot of property there.
I think you can come along with this too for,
What are you gonna do with all the people running around with no education?
Well, they'll still go to school, online.
Oh. Oh, boy.
What?
Oh, boy.
we'll invite you out with Coffee with the County
Yeah.
in September again, September, October again.
When he's creating his no school
Yeah.
Yeah.
zone?
Well-
Oh, okay. Yeah, we'll do that and we can talk about it again and then.
Okay,
But, once I get, final numbers of all the personal
That's a
property
pretty
and
good
everything,
idea.
I can come back and do a final evaluation.
well, at
for
least
you.
it's a plus this year instead of a minus.
Yeah.
A plus on this end, it'll probably be a minus on well, it will be a minus
Yeah.
on the oil and gas side, obviously, with Kinder Morgan.
Which is
But
bigger.
not like last year,
Okay,
because last year, it was 15% last year.
it was big,
Yep, it was big last year. But,
only half as big.
what I noticed too, it was a reduction in, production and per MCF price. So not just production or MCF, so it's just slowing down. There's no real need for it. So we'll see.
Okay,
That's
Any-
what I have about.
all
Yeah,
right, let's
notices
talk
go out
about,
May 1st.
let's talk
Protest
about
period is until
EagleView.
June 8th. I
June
think,
8th?
actually June 9th. I think June 8th is a Sunday. So it'll go till Monday, June 9th. And then we have until the end of June to get out our notices of determination. And then I believe they then have 15 days to get their notices to the CBOE. So, here we go.
Okay. All right, EagleView.
And we did not get a contract, so it's just gonna be a little presentation for those who didn't get to come on what we're looking at, what it can do. The reality of what I want you guys to understand, what our office is capable of. Just all of it. So, the project overview is a 6-year contract, and I believe it's going to be eligible to be, ended at any time. Is that right, Stephen? Is that what you're having rewritten?
Well, yeah, I don't have the updated contract, but what we had discussed was, the county
is the board isn't able to sign these long, multi-year contracts without there being either a carve out for subject to continuing appropriation of funds, or a shorter but still multi-year term where all that money is appropriated up front. So it sounded like they were more interested in adding some language about subject to additional annual appropriations. I haven't seen anything back at this
I
point.
haven't gotten anything yet either. He did say it would be early this week when we would get something new. So, and then Stephen had a great idea to, our first estimation was to include the entire reservation down to the county line. And on Thursday, we asked him to just up that line up to just include Toyac and not go clear to the county line. So that saved us quite a bit of money. I believe it's $15,000 a year. So with that being said, our estimated dollars that we would need to spend in 2025 would be $50,000, and that is excluding the Ute Mountain Reservation. And then for 2026, it would be $125,000. That includes the difference of the $87,500 that we aren't paying in 2025. So we're just paying that difference, making up the difference in 2026. And then our contract for the rest of the 6 years would go to $87,500. And then it will allow us to pick up previously missed structures with high-resolution pictometry, and then allow more accurate measuring of structures. And it would also allow for other public safety and public utilities to use our software. And the project timeline is, so this first year for the flyover is in 2025. Second year, we would just continue working in EagleView, picking up new buildings, new construction that, we've missed. Third year flyover, they fly over the main portions of the towns that we are in, the 3-inch, so it would be Cortez, Mancos, Dolores, and the outlying areas that are in the 3-inch pictometry portion of it. And then we do what's called change finder. So they send us, as soon as they get the picture taken, they send us like a update in our system that says go to 25% of your, they give us the download and says you've missed 25% of your buildings, or something of 25% of your buildings have changed in the last 2 years. So you just go straight there, fix it, get it on the tax roll, and you're kind of updated for the next 2 years, which is actually really good asset because you're done.
How many personnel would you have to have in your office to cover a piece like this?
Well, it's coming.
Okay,
I kind of have
I'm getting a little ahead of the game?
calm down.
Okay, I was just asking, I mean, you gotta ask it when you think of it. I may not remember it here,
I'll cover it.
according to a lot of people, you might.
That's why I write it down.
Is that why you write it down? Okay.
That's how I ask all my questions, because I'm
Okay.
writing them down.
That's okay. They test you on that, when you turn 65.
Not there yet.
I was gonna say, are you guys 65?
He's not. He's not. Yeah. He's getting really close.
So fourth year, it's just a continuous. Fourth year, we would just work on the existing flyover. Fifth year, we would get the data update again, and then sixth year, we would just work. And then after the 6th year, we would decide to up our contract if we wanted to. So every 6th year, you do another contract and look at your fly zones, update whatever you want to do, if you choose to. You don't, it's up to whoever is in charge in 6 years.
Well, it's up, yeah, I could see updating it for sure, because there's gonna be a lot change in 6 years. There's a lot of changes in 1 year.
Well, I know, I got a letter from La Plata County, and what she said they've done is the people that are buying in with her, they've decided to fly the entire county at 3-inch. They've
Oh,
saved their
wow.
money, and it's helped them so much that that's what they're doing.
Who's buying in? Who else?
They have,
Probably OPA.
La Plata County has City of Durango, Town of Bayfield and Ignacio, and the Southern Ute Tribe, and La Plata County Electric is who they partner with.
Okay.
And they've all budgeted for their next flyover, their next contract date, to do it all in 3-inch. Which,
Yeah.
that's gonna be pretty spendy. But, I mean, the 3-inch is where you can actually, I mean, it's, the difference on, when we saw the presentation, it was crazy. So 6-inch is what we have now on our,
GIS.
GIS, and the 3-inch is just like looking at a picture. And then when you tilt down and you can see the oblique version of it, you can see the porches on things, you can see their air conditioners, their, you know, just, it's amazing what you can see when you actually get to tilt down and see what their house is, or if it's even a house, if it's a garage, if it's a barn. It's pretty neat.
Okay.
I mean, we're still measuring roof line, top of roof, but
Uh-huh.
when we tilt down, we can see more of what actually is. Basements.
How do you see if there's a basement?
You can see the basement windows now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there's gonna be a window well somewhere.
Where you're looking at the roof
Yeah.
now,
You can't.
you don't even know how many stories it is. When you get to come down, like, you know, looking at it this way, you can tell how many stories it is. In fact, we were looking at one of the pictures on the, and it was actually, when you're looking at it from above, it looked like a parking lot. But really, it was an addition to a church, a whole pretty large addition. But if you just looked at it from what our vision was, it looked like a parking lot. Pretty crazy. So these are some comparisons of counties around us that do have building permits. Just commercial, residential, just some numbers that we just put together. Los Animas is one of their customers, and they did write in on the next slide to show what they actually have made since they have taken on this program. And they've made 114,025,175 in actual value is what they've added to the tax roll permanently.
In 6 years?
Mhm.
Yeah.
And they're a pretty, I would say ag area.
Mhm.
So that's a lot
Yeah.
for
Other
them.
than Trinidad, the city itself, but, I mean, it's
So
still
it's quite
pretty
a bit
small.
of, and even still having building permits too. I was
Mhm.
pretty surprised at that number. And they were able to, during COVID, during the shutdown and stuff, they just worked on it. They were able to take it home with them and just work on, that's what they're, you know, 'cause they couldn't go out, so they were just working on finding new construction that had been missed. So, so here's something, food for thought. So that, 87,500 is what it's gonna cost us every year. And if I were to hire a part-time person, no benefits, just a part-time person to come into my office and just do this. Just start at a county line, work on a grid, and just look for buildings and houses that we've missed. On average, right now, a house in the county is about $430,000. I mean, this, we could easily pay for its product, easily. It's just food for thought, something to think about. But, I mean, even if we we captured 10 new products a month. I'm not saying we have to do it, it's just, I knew the
Well, I
question was
don't-
gonna come up.
I don't think the conversation, I mean, we do have capital funds that we can use.
Yeah.
And we're not getting more people. I mean, we're all seeing that. You can't get enough people to do what you can do in a flyover in pictometry and it just.
But I
there's
just want you
just
guys
no
to understand
comparison.
that the realistics of my office sitting day in and day out and doing this is not realistic.
Mm-mm.
Because we still have to be doing our daily jobs.
Sure.
So if what you want is to buy this program and to have someone sit and do it day in and day out, we would have to have someone do it for us. Because we don't have the time to sit and do it, because we've got so many other jobs to do.
Wouldn't it take more than one person?
Well, I mean, to pay for it, no, not to pay for it.
Yeah.
But to finish it, I mean, it would probably be an employee for a couple years.
Yeah.
they didn't run out after they pulled their eyelashes out for, I don't know how long an employee would last just doing this day in and day out too. I don't know. And trying to find someone that wanted to work part-time, that understood that this was just a temporary position, you know, it's hard. It would be hard to find that person. Like, I was thinking the perfect person would be maybe someone who's retired, that's bored, that just wants something to do, has some computer skills. That would be kind of, doesn't need insurance, doesn't, you know,
Yeah.
it would be that type of person I would be looking for. So, I don't know if it's even feasible. I don't know. But the realistic of it is, it's not gonna come from my office if you're wanting us to just sit down and work from county line to county line. It can't happen in my office with what our workload is.
Yeah, and I think we understand that. I don't think there ever been a question of that at all. So using technology is by far the best way to go about it. It's more efficient.
And I'm excited about the second year when we get, or in the third year flyover, whenever we actually get to compare our, that's what I would be really excited about. And
Yeah.
I think that's where it'll be really beneficial.
What we had then, what we have now. Yeah.
And it shows even if it was a remodel, any lines that changed, it notes it and lets you know about it,
Okay.
so. Any
Any other
questions?
questions?
Appreciate it.
Okay. Thank you very
We'll
much.
just wait for the contract and then
Okay.
Stephen can look at the changes and see if they're acceptable and then.
Yeah.
we'll just go
Then
from there.
we'll
And we're
move it
looking at probably,
forward.
which we're also kind of happy about, a later summer flyover, so that way we can actually see cattle grazing too.
Okay.
So all the cattle grazing,
So will the leaves be off enough that you can see it?
the
or
leaves
are
won't be
they-
off, but like we talked, in a lot of the places, I mean, the leaves aren't ever off,
Hmm. True.
so, you know. But
Okay.
it will help us for a lot of our ag purposes too. So. And then maybe this first flyover will be then, and then maybe the second one will be at a different time, but we can look, it'll help us with a lot of our ag stuff. To actually see if there are cattle where we're being told there are cattle.
Okay. All right. Very good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Moving right along, Travis, we have an MOU with the city of Cortez as it relates to the landfill and to the kill pit, or dead animal pit, I guess, sorry. I mean, this is pretty straightforward.
Yeah, I mean, we'd requested this, what, a couple months or so ago.
Yeah, Mel Jarman brought this up in the context of one of his periodic reviews from his department that you know, overall, basically, the county is wanting to disallow discharge of firearms down at the landfill, but we wanted to carve out this exception where the Cortez police could continue to discharge firearms at the dead animal pit in the way that they've been doing it historically. And so that's what this is intended to memorialize. We circulated this back and forth. The city made some changes specifically around the liability releases. And frankly, we're both local government entities and have some restrictions about how much we're allowed to release people of liabilities or indemnify other parties. And so I think the changes they made are appropriate. We set this for a longer duration. There's no money being exchanged. It's basically just to formalize this exception to the general policy. So we set it for a longer auto-renewing term, although any party can terminate the MOU on 30 days notice. But this is kind of just to set this up so that we've got it recorded, what our expectations are as far as the police still being able to do this discharge of firearms in the way the county thinks is safe.
Okay. Any questions at all?
No, the city authorized this last Tuesday.
Okay. Cool.
Yep, thanks.
Just basically waiting for our signature.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Very good. Moving on, then we have a discussion of the fleet policy. This was presented, gosh, months ago, Travis?
Yeah,
So,
Commissioners, we've been working on this for, I don't know, 6, 7 months. We've done some carve-outs, waiting on HR, so we took those out. The benefit section will be in a different portion through our handbook. This just kind of gives myself and the fleet manager a little bit more oversight of fleet and fleet management. Not sure if you have any specific questions, but briefly it goes into the statutory responsibilities of what the commissioners have. It also allows myself and the fleet manager to dispose of vehicles that, you know, probably should be disposed of prior to them coming to a workshop, and it'll still have to get approved by the commissioners, but we can make those recommendations early on. Let's see. Ensures fleet is involved in the repair aspect of it, and particularly in insurance claims. We've had some claims made that fleet wasn't fully made aware of at the onset, so this makes it to where he actually makes the claims versus another department or office. Accident reporting, and then obviously take-home vehicles. There's some information in there that myself and fleet will actually oversee that aspect, making sure that the fleet is actually being managed accordingly. And if you look at one, it says occupants, but obviously prohibits the employees allowing the vehicles to be used to take their kids to and from schools when they're headed to work, and that sort of thing. So, did you gentlemen have any other questions?
no. I mean, we looked at this thing, we took that, the benefit out when that'll be addressed in the handbook then?
Yeah,
Okay,
HR is
so it won't
looking
be
at
in
that.
this policy, it'll be in a different.
Correct.
I think that was the biggest reason we took it out, or we stopped it at that point in time, was because of the SO.
Yes.
I don't have any questions.
I'm good, thanks.
Okay, good. All right, and with that, we've come to the end of our agenda. Thank you all. We are adjourned.